right, welcome back to another episode of the Grunge Bible Podcast. My name is Ethan Shalloway. I'm joined, as usual, by Chris Salona, and this is episode 55. Chris, how the hell you doing, buddy?
Man, we're bringing it to you just like clockwork, right on time. I have to say, I wore number 55 when I played high school football, and as we know here in the States, your high school sports accomplishments, they ring forever true. So this episode is near and dear to my heart. I'm doing pretty well today. We're sitting down here on April the 6th to take care of this. This episode's coming out on Monday, April the 11th. But later today, I'm going to see Jerry Cantrell, and I'm fucking excited. I'm really excited about it.
This is huge. This is really important. I know, or everybody knows that. Obviously, we're huge Alice in Chains fans, but you definitely have taken, taken a liking to Jerry's solo stuff quite a bit, and you had a big stint. So I think this is really important for you to go. Yeah. We just had a friend who just went the other day. We actually had one of our top level patrons, Doug Endy.
Doug Endy was there when it happened.
Doug Endy and one of my old boss, Andy. So they led a few days early, and now you get to follow. And I'm excited for you. It sounds like it's going to be way more epic than.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I feel like you'd expect one thing, but you're going to get even more than you've ever expected.
No, I feel similarly, and I'm really excited for next week's episode because I'll be able to talk about it, and I can't do that yet since it hasn't happened, so we just have to wait a little bit longer. Ethan, how are you today?
I'm doing well. This is it rained yesterday and it rained today, but
it's raining here now.
Is it raining where you are? Yeah, and
it is.
It's all good. It's midweek. Or second day, we're just kind of moving along. It's a solid week. No complaints.
Just got to do the work.
Yeah, the big wheel. I guess the big wheel is turning for me. So a lot of moving parts, coming up. So we're about to really kick into the high gear, but it's silent right now. So
absolutely. Well, we like high gear, and the Grunge Bible Podcast is always in high gear. 24/7, 365, that wheel is rolling, and that wheel rolls thanks to our top level patrons and all of our patrons. And Ethan, we get to ring the bell quite a bit this week because in case you don't know, we just gave away some stuff to the patrons.
Yeah, this is a huge announcement, I guess. We have our 3 winners from our Kafara print giveaway, and through that time we picked up quite a bit of patrons, so we have a lot of new people to thank, and it was exciting, Chris. I mean, we did a month, and how many did we add? 12?
I think we gained like 13 or 14 people.
Yeah, it was like. A
lot of supporters of the cause, and we're hopeful they'll stick around, and we're hopeful the more will join them, because while this may have been the first, this is not the last time we'll do this. But to thank these individuals right now, so as we sit down to record this, anyone whose name we haven't mentioned yet, I will now speak it out into the world. So at the $2 level, we had a few people join. We had Charlotte Northcutt, we had Clark Flanagan join, and we also had Alicia join at the $2 level. And at the $5 level, we had the great Louis Johnson Todd get into the mix there. We're very happy to see that. Welcome aboard, Louis. And then at the $10 level, we've got Alex Long, Brenda, and Darian Riddle. And, what more could you ask for right there? I mean, they took the leap of faith into that top level tier, which keeps this show rolling along here in our 55th week. And those 3 individuals join Captain Hightop, Nikki Six, Lauren Irene, Shannon Gorgone, Sunny Mashburn, Sue, Marianne, Millie, Kayla Jean, Alexis Shannon, Jamie Lynn, What the Fuck's Up Denny's, our number 1 fan from Australia, Fuck Soup, Rachel Corning, Millie, Release, Jade Mercado, Doug Endy, Wayne Saley, Victor Schaefer, The Blue Owl, Kara K, Chris, and Black Hole Sean at the $10 level. So the $10 club, it's the room is, there's a little bit less elbow room in that club right now, which is what I love to see. I mean, you gotta have a good time. You're banging elbows with people, just having a great old time. So really pumped about that.
They're at the rails for the Grunge Bible concert, the podcast concert. And
yeah,
I mean, love that. I mean, the fact that our highest tier is our most filled tier is, that's good. That's a really good feeling. You know what I mean? People are choosing to support as much as they can, and that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we already mentioned this on the Patreon because that is who it pertained to, but I feel the need to shout out the winners of the Grunge Bible Chris Cafaro print giveaway extravaganza.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I think we give an announcement to all the people.
Absolutely. So now it's time to announce that to the general public. So at the $2 level, we were giving away a 13x19 Chris Cornell artist's print taken by Chris Cafaro, and that print was won by Alicia. Alicia got her Patreon membership in the last day of the month. It was the buzzer beater.
She was the buzzer beater, and it paid off.
And they're going home with a nice 13x19 Chris Cornell print. Then the $5 level, we were giving away a 13x19 artist print of Pearl Jam, taken at Discovery Park up in Seattle. And that winner was Lindsay Calloway. Lindsay's been with us for since I think the new year. So this is their fourth month ride in the Grunge Bible train, and they were rewarded. I mean, what's better than that?
Nothing. Yeah, that's awesome.
And then lastly, the $10 top tier giveaway, a 17x22 artist print of Nirvana and an item of their choosing from the Grunge Bible store. The winner of the top tier giveaway was Fuck Soup.
This you have to be so proud because obviously you're the reason that this man hates soup so much.
I have a disciple, and the disciple was rewarded.
And trust me, guys, this was not biased. We used the Wheel of Names.
The Wheel of Names, wheelofnames.com or wheelofnames.net. I don't know, but it's that simple. You pump the names in, you spin the great wheel, and the wheel can't lie, Ethan. The wheel doesn't tell a lie.
No, I kind of want to use it. We could use it for so we should put in like an album into it and just spin it and then talk about a song or two. That would be kind of fun.
We need to do some live action with the Wheel of Names because let me tell you, Ethan, we FaceTimed to select these winners. It was electric watching that wheel spin.
It really was.
Seeing what names came across. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I can't wait to do that again.
Yeah.
So to all of the winners, the three winners, Alicia, Lindsay Calloway, and Fuck Soup, congratulations. Thank you so much for your support. And to everyone who joined the Patreon over the month of March to have a chance to win, don't worry, we're going to do a lot more of things of that nature as time rolls on. So we hope you stick around. And if you're listening out there and you're not a member of the club, come on in. There's enough room for all of us. And if you want to get in for the next opportunity, we're going to give away some cool stuff. We've got a lot of good things planned as spring rolls into summer here in the United States and wherever you might be, whatever weather it is, who gives a shit? Good stuff is coming.
I love it. So for this episode, we're going to get into it. We actually had our producer Drew on, and we talked about the Foo Fighters and then the Red Hot Chili Peppers new album, slightly touched on. And so yeah, we're going to have some fun. And then we actually kind of got off the rails a little bit at the end, and we kind of went a little longer. And if you want to hear the full-length podcast, it's going to be up on the Patreon. So you're going to hear the first hour, I say, and then there's even more on the Patreon that's just for those guys. So keep that in mind if you want to hear the rest. If you like the banter, there's actually some, really good personal stories in there. It's pretty good.
If that's your thing.
If you want to hear us talk about stuff other than grunge, we get into it a little bit at the end. So
yeah, this is for the hashtag not grunge crowd. You're going to want to make your way over there.
But we had some fun talking about the Foo Fighters and hanging out with Drew. So we're going to cut to that now, and we'll be back afterwards to kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, let's get into it. Here's our lovely producer, Drew McFadyen.
Three parts that make up the triangle here. You got Ethan Shelley, Chris Salona, and our lovely producer Drew McFadyen. We're popping on here to shoot some shit with you. How are the boys doing today? How's Grunge Bible this Sunday night?
Super awesome, getting better all the time.
How you doing, man? How you doing? How you
doing,
hey,
man?
Chris?
You know what,
hey,
man?
I'm Chris. You know what, man? You know what, man?
I'm pretty damn tired.
I'm pretty
it's Sunday.
tired, man.
I'm tired, man. I didn't do anything. It was very unproductive. Man.
Gentlemen, it is indeed Sunday evening, and my energy levels are a little bit low. I'm a little fatigued at this point.
Man,
you know what?
That's good. That's expected after a hard week. You work hard, huh, Chris?
I mean, not harder than the next guy.
But just hard enough.
just hard enough, and just hard enough to make it appear that I'm working harder than I actually am.
Yeah, I do have to ask the Bumble hat. I love it. Where'd you get it? What's the story?
Okay, so the story behind the Bumble hat.
Free advertising for Bumble.
Yeah, free advertising.
Anybody on Just Audio is wearing.
Fuck Bumble.
He's wearing a Bumble hat with the logo on it.
I'm wearing a Bumble hat with the logo. So the genesis of this hat and how I came into possession. This must have been. I think I was in college or right out of college, but I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we gave one of her friends a ride home, and they lifted it from the bar from somebody. So they stole it from somebody. They got into my car. I gave them a ride home, and they happened to forget their Bumble hat in the car after talking about it for the entire ride. But I figured that was the fare for the taxi trip, so I just held on to the hat. So
do you think that there was like a marketing thing that they?
I think it was like a promoter at the bar or something.
Yeah. Or did someone buy that hat?
I hope no one spent legal U.S. tender on this hat. I really hope not. That would be bad.
Yeah, it's like that movie, the Legend of the Traveling Jeans or whatever, with those chicks. Remember that? But it's the Bumble hat, dude. Somebody's got to steal that from Chris now. That's for all the fans.
It's like the book club. It's like a book exchange. You know, I wear it for a while and I pass it on to somebody else.
I've passed on a lot of good hats.
Yeah, not by choice sometimes. Venice Breakwater and Peter's Pub, man, in Pittsburgh.
One of my
Peter's
favorite
Pub, dude.
Yeah.
One of my favorite hats was given to me from Scott Simmer, and me and Chris loved it.
A friend of ours from college, yeah.
And we would wear it, I don't know, to go out and stuff, and it disappeared on us.
That was a good hat.
It was a good hat.
It was a really good hat.
Peter's Pub was a great spot in Oakland, Pittsburgh.
And then they closed it.
I only went there underage. I never was there.
Yeah, back door in the alleyway. That was the only way in.
I turned 21 in Peter's Pub. Got my horns. They gave me Viking horns there. Yeah. Yep.
The tradition lives.
So we all have hats on, but Ethan, is that a Long Beach hat?
It is.
Wow.
No.
It is a Long Beach hat. It's from your neck of the woods. From our buddy Nick. Actually, he gave it to me.
Imagine that.
So as you can see, this is a pretty casual episode. I'm not really sure if we're going to air it as a full episode or if it's a Patreon exclusive. We're not real sure yet. But we're going to be talking about the Foo Fighters because it's pretty.
Naturally.
It's pretty
timely.
And Drew's seen them. I've seen them. Sadly, Chris was not able to see them.
Never had the chance
I thought
to.
I saw them with you, Drew, but we determined that I did not, which makes sense. So. But you saw them. I think there was one time I was supposed to, and I think I couldn't make it, which would make sense. So we didn't see them together, but
perhaps.
And then we're gonna review and give a really hot take on the Red Hot Chili Peppers' new album because everybody's.
I have such strong opinions.
I know.
So when was the first time your memories of Foo Fighters? I can give you my first memory, my first impression.
Okay, my first memory, it would have to be, well, I wouldn't say My Hero. The song My Hero it will always be like Foo Fighters. Like when I think of Foo Fighters, My Hero, the drums obviously coming in. Super drums. Yeah, really great intro.
Recorded by Dave, by the way, on the radio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to play that. So I learned that drum part, and we would play a few of their songs, but that was one that we'd always jam. And I believe I don't know if you were the one who. I mean, you loved Foo Fighters, so we listened to a lot. I'm not sure if you got me into them. Actually, you might have, or if it was Andy or somebody else, but. I know that because your dad, Bill, he was a big Foo Fighter guy.
Big, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure my love started the same time and because of you, if not the same exact moment.
Yeah.
What about you? You said you got a really specific one?
Yeah, because I didn't like them at first. I remember.
Nice.
So my dad was he was a big grunge fan, Nirvana, especially Bush. Stone Temple Pilots, Stained, and then naturally followed Dave's journey, and then Foo Fighters started. Wasn't a huge fan of the first album, and then my first introduction from my dad was their live acoustic album, Skin and Bones.
Oh yeah,
Best
love
of
that
You.
album.
Best of You was my first little drink of Mr. Dave and the Foos.
I love that album.
I hated it, dude.
Yeah,
I couldn't stand it. It was the one little thing that he did. I'm getting down on the best of you. I couldn't stand that he would just you at the end of every line. Like, I was an engineer back then. I'm an engineer now. My ear was everything. Like, just the noise of it.
It was too
Didn't
much
really-
for you.
It was just like I was just like, don't like Chris, like I don't even know what the proper term is, but like just end it on the note rather than you.
Yeah, don't hold that.
Yeah. And it like bothered me forever. I didn't listen for years. Came back, matured up a little bit, and I was like, holy shit, these guys are
understood
amazing.
it more. Yeah. That's like Tom DeLonge, the voice inside my head.
Oh yeah.
The voice inside my head. And everybody's like, why can't he just say head? But it's his thing.
Yeah.
That's funny
it's
that
just-
stuck out to you and you didn't like it for a while.
for a minute, man. And then like
I mean, I was
Man.
like that with Rooster.
I was just gonna bring up
that's-
Rooster because I remember very specifically when we were getting into this genre. Yeah,
here
you're like
comes the
this isn't gonna do it for us, and sure enough, a couple of months
were
later or
liars.
whatever,
that's so funny, man. Rooster, the first time I heard it, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing.
two sides of the coin right there, and even I remember Ethan, Jeremy by Pearl Jam was one that kind of stuck in your craw as well, like. The chorus there where he's like Jeremy spoken and we were like, what is, like, we didn't know who Jeremy was first of all, and then once you learn the story behind the song, it kind of you come around eventually. But that doesn't surprise me with Dave's vocals, particularly with that song. I think and a lot of the stuff that he's
that
done,
recording, that album, yeah.
Can't wait
Yeah, I
to
think-
listen to it after this.
you know,
What you were
play
gonna
the
say,
tape.
Chris?
Yeah, it's just like the way that Dave plays, I think at times, if you don't already have an appreciation for who he is, it can kind of come off as a little abrasive at times. I have a really good friend that is a big fan of Dave Grohl's as well, and he's like, Dave Grohl doesn't know how to play any instrument softly, so whenever he plays acoustic, for example, he's just hammering away on that sucker. He doesn't know how to sing softly. Everything's just loud all the time, and it's just kind of in your face. So if you're not ready for that, that can kind of come right out at
Yeah.
you.
Well, people who say that, they should listen to his performance at the White House
Yeah.
playing.
That's
what was
a
that
good
song?
one.
The Beatles with Paul McCartney song. What was it called?
I'm blanking on it.
Band on the Run.
Literally Band on the Run.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
What a
good
Really
song.
good.
One
Really
of the
good
most amazing
performance.
performances. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has some great performances. That one is really at the top.
He's a
That's a good one.
comedian too, dude. He's like, Paul, you're my hero. Mr. President, you're my other hero. Guy's just a class act, man.
He really
But yeah,
is.
What's your first recollection of Foo, Chris?
You know, it's it's difficult for me to think back because I'm not someone who has spent tons and tons of time listening to the Foo Fighters, but I would have to say probably around the time I was in high school. I think it was the Wasting Light album with Walk was on there, and I remember hearing that at some point during my freshman year of high school. I remember hearing that song, and that I remember that popped out as something that I really liked, and having not really had an ear towards grunge rock or just rock, modern-ish rock. I was still in the 60s and 70s at that point, and I think I had discovered that and then backtracked and learned like who Dave was specifically, and you know that he was a drummer in Nirvana and everything, and kind of put two and two together, having obviously known like Teen Spirit and Bloom and all that stuff. And I definitely think it was the Wasting Light album, that, and then it was Walk in These Days for me. Because I believe at the time they were both getting some good radio play on like modern FM rock radio or whatever. So that was kind of my first entry. But there's still, for me, there's a lot of the catalog that is still undiscovered or I haven't listened with intent to. So, and it always sucks too, because I feel like a lot of times after a tragedy like this is only when a lot of people get in. And this a little bit of a tangent, but Mark Lanigan passed away in February, a couple of months ago, and somebody who follows the page direct messaged us and was like, Mark Lanigan's monthly listeners on Spotify are up like 150,000 right after he died. And it sucks that it takes a tragedy like Taylor's death, I think, to get people into this band, into the music that they created sometimes. But I guess you'd rather have that than them not discover it ever.
What's kind of seems like it's almost human nature, whether it was Chester's death, to where every Linkin Park album was top 5, top 10 in iTunes charts, Apple Music, Spotify charts, whether it's Will Smith and Chris Rock, some sort of crazy drama goes on there, and Chris Rock's ratings and ticket sales are up 150% or something,
Yeah.
So it just seems like it's human nature anytime that there's something unexpected almost, or it's something like unforeseen. Humans are curious, so then we're just
people want to check it out.
Certainly.
We're just like, what did I miss? Like, why is everybody upset? Why is there drama here? Let me look into it.
Yeah, what did I miss? Exactly.
Interesting, huh? Yeah. But
What album is your favorite, Drew? Do you have a favorite Foo album? They're all. I was like looking through. Just pulled up the Wasting Light album too, because that was right. We probably sophomores, maybe juniors in college, in high school.
That was the album that I saw live, that tour.
Yeah, I think I saw that one too.
That's gotta be my. Go ahead.
You gonna say it's your favorite?
That's gotta be my favorite, yeah, because it was when I was most paying attention. I was in tune. I was social media was like booming.
It was like a sweet spot.
Yeah, like
I know. That's exactly what I was gonna say. There's something special about anticipating, like getting into and anticipating a next album. I feel like there's a lot of anticipation for that album. Sonic Highways has me and Chris have been passing back and forth a few videos of I Am a River. We love that song. That's probably the best one off that album. That's a really, really good song. But yeah, Wasting Light is a really good album. They all have good stuff.
Yeah, admittedly, post Wasting Light, I dropped off listening as much.
Yeah.
Just partly, number one, because their library is so extensive to where you can go back and listen to sort of the glory days, and it doesn't really get old because there's so much.
Yeah.
So you can kind of throw it in here and there, and it's like, oh my god, this song's so good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was just at getting lunch earlier today, and Times Like These came on. Hadn't heard the radio version in forever, or the album version. And dude, does it just blow you away every time? It's just so good,
That exact same thing happens to me with that same song, because a lot of times I'll listen to an acoustic version or a live version where it's a little slower, and the full band, especially the studio version, it's just so hard driving right from the get-go. Yeah. And I don't think of that song like that. I think of the Skin and Bones version when I think of it. And then when you hear the album cut, you're like, holy shit, like this is a fast mover.
Yeah. I remember playing that live with Ethan and our friend Andy from the hometown, playing Times Like These, dude. The something that maybe non-musicians don't know is the complexity of the Foo Fighters music compared to even Nirvana music. Or even,
for sure.
Yeah. Like the complexity of the chords and everything that Dave composes is stupid, dude. Not to mention Taylor's drums, but let's just talk about the guitar playing for a second.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. The timing, Well,
we're talking about the crazy part is he's primarily a drummer. Like when he started, and I couldn't imagine like learning guitar and then going to drums. I feel like would be easier than like being a drummer for so long and then learning guitar.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because I think we all have the tendency to illuminate and fixate upon the loudest element of who somebody is. So with Dave, for example, his personality just jumps at you so much, and his origins as a drummer is kind of where that story begins. And his lyrics and his voice is so loud, and he's got so much energy. You also forget, I mean, he's running around the stage, he's playing guitar at the same time, and like you said, Drew, like those guitar parts are not, it's not like, oh, the drummer decided to pick up a guitar and write 3 chords in the truth here. Like he's an intelligent dude and he's a good player. And it's so funny too, because he's explained a couple of times like how he looks at the guitar, and he basically looks at the guitar like it's a drum, and like the lower strings serve a certain purpose just as an element of drumming would, and the higher string, and it's really, really interesting. But it's just, I think some people have those minds that just are already beginning from such an advanced stage of understanding that, you know, if they devote time to it, it's just going to work.
Yeah, and try playing All My Life as a guitar player in the right time like the right. It's kind of like Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody tries to play the intro correctly, like especially like the drummers.
Yep.
When do you come in? Is it 1 2 and, or is it 1 2 3 and? Or like All My Life is very similar, man. Dun 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 dun. All my life. Like it's like a very actually not simple. Like,
No.
You know. Mm-hmm.
I remember fucking that up so much trying to play it.
Yeah, dude.
And times like these that we try to like it. Yeah, it just took a while to figure it out.
They're so good, man. They're just fantastic.
Well, and especially as they progressed as a band and they added more members into the fold, especially when they would play live. I mean, when you're in the studio, you're on your own time and you'll stay there for as long as you need to with the money that they had, obviously, to get it right. But when they play live, like they just, I mean, there's a bunch of people on the stage and they're all with it, and they're all able to just do it on the fly sometimes, which is something that's always impressed me. Just the improvisational nature of live music is just so impressive to me, especially when they're moving around and playing with such energy and such speed as they often did.
At that level, though, it's usually supposed to look improv, but it's really not.
Yeah.
It's just that's how good they are.
Yeah, and they've been playing together for God knows how long too.
And like the level, like you guys can understand, like from the sports angle, where once you're exposed to a certain level of expertise in something, you're like, oh, that's how good people can be, or people are, right?
Yeah.
Same thing in my experience in music, where it was just like came out to LA and started working in some studios. It was like, oh, that's how good you are.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Right.
Like, so these people are just levels and levels so good, dude. So like Taylor Hawkins as a drummer just levels above anything that your brain computes as a good drummer, you know?
Yeah.
Dave, same thing, just as a musician, just levels above what you're like, that's, oh, I know, like I can put into my like picture in my brain what a good musician is, and then Dave is just 100x, you know?
He's got to be one of the most, I mean, there's probably, like you said, they're all at this level, but he seems such a complete musician to me in the way that he can perform, you know, write, compose, obviously play every instrument, kind of run a band, interact the way that he is a front man. I mean, one of the tours, I didn't get to see it, but you probably went to the one right after he broke his leg and he built the guitar throne at all of his things, and he literally gave a show. He had a broken leg, so he couldn't do his normal running around, and he still toured and just sat and played. And it was like, you know, not Dave Grohl normal, but like he's still yelling from a shit position, and like you know, people don't do that. Like he just was so ready for any challenge. Like he would just do it, and he wouldn't look back. And then Taylor took that on. Like Taylor coming out from behind the drums and starting singing and doing that. Like they were just fearless in the way that they attacked concerts, and I think writing probably too. But I think that they were gonna be, in my eyes, like, you know, U2 and like Queen, like the big anthem rocks. Like that's what Foo Fighters were in like our age. I think like that's where they were gonna keep going. I think they love that idea, and those are so big influences for all the guys. They've talked about it, and damn, they were good at it. I guess like I told Chris the other day, like, I mean, I saw them in the back of, like, as far as ways you could sit, and it was like still incredible. Their sound just travels so well. They're so good for a big venue. Good music for it.
It seems like also how the level of importance that they placed on their live product and how they performed live. I mean, these guys, how many commas are in their bank accounts and how long they've been doing it. They had every reason to take a night off or whatever when they're rolling through some random town on a random August Thursday night or whatever. But I feel like pretty much with no exceptions, they played their balls off every single time they took the stage.
And Dave was always so thankful and grateful for the crowd. Like he's like, and he wanted, he owed them, he owed us, he would say. And he's like, I want to give you the best performance every night. Like, I don't care. Like the one when I was in Ohio, something happened like the day before where they lost like a bunch of their luggage or something happened and they lost a bunch of shit. And he basically was telling him, he's like, but we don't give a fuck. And he's like, tonight is our night. And he's like, we're going to have the best damn night we've ever had. We're going to play the best show we've ever played. Oh, he would always say that too. He'd be like, who's seen us before? And everybody would yell and raise their hands, be like, well, we sucked back then. He's like, we're so much better now. He's like, so sorry you had to hear us, but now we're the best we've ever, and then he would do that and like all the time. And he meant it. Like he's like, he knew.
Yeah, they believed that. Like
it seems like it seems like very high performing people in general sort of adopt that philosophy to where I remember, and I'm so sorry that I don't remember his name, but he was the longtime producer of the Rolling Stones. I had the opportunity to work with him for a few days, and his like biggest advice to me was, doesn't matter what the project is, doesn't matter. And you can translate this to any industry, any facet of your life. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you gotta give it your all every single time. He's like, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, doesn't matter how repetitive it gets. You are what you are. You are what you make. You are what you produce. So you gotta give it your all. Same thing with, it sounds like you're saying, like what Dave is saying, like he's like, every night doesn't, like they've been playing, Chris, you said how many commas they have in the bank. They've been doing this for 20, 30 years. It's like, doesn't matter. They're giving it their fucking all every time, And I think like you can just put that in any facet of your life and try to emulate that as well, just as a high performing person seems like they do, just giving it your 110% every day,
Totally. 100%.
Yeah, they're pretty badass. Is there anything else? Oh, I was going to mention the Greatest Hits album, and it's interesting because Dave, I think the record label was really pushing to release one, and like Dave didn't want to do it, and he was like pissed when they like put it out because he's like, this isn't even like, the songs I would put on my list, And
Wheels wasn't Wheels on that?
Well, so there were two. There's about 2 or 3 songs from each album, and then Wheels and Word Forward are on there, and they're both songs that are not on an album. I wanted to bring them up because those are 2 of my favorite songs by these guys, and they were songs that they would use as sound check. So they would play. It was like the unknown or the unsaid code or however you want to say it, they just would play songs. They wouldn't play the songs that they play for the show. Yeah. They would play these 2. So they would always kind of develop new songs as the tour goes on. But those 2 songs are so badass. They're so good. And I do want to bring up, I was looking at it, and one of the Pitchfork writers wrote that those 2 songs didn't deserve to be on the Greatest Hits album.
We have beef with Pitchfork. We've had it for a long time.
Had it for a while, but that's just ludicrous. He's like, it should be a couple other songs that he mentioned. And I'm like, dude, if Dave wanted those on there for the Greatest Hits, like, and it's funny because they're not even on there, but they feel like they deserve to be on there. Wheels is such a Foo Fighters song to me. It sounds so like good. It sounds like Big Me, like kind of feeling to it. Mm-hmm. So good. So fun to play.
VH1 Storytellers, dude.
Yep.
Wheels. That live is so good. Yeah.
Yep. That's what they have, like our favorite Word Forward performances on the Storytellers.
Oh my God, yeah.
You got to bring back Storytellers too.
They did a lot of people. I was looking at the list and I was like, I didn't realize I kind of want to go back and watch a lot of them. Like,
yeah. There's a really good one for Pearl Jam too, of VH1 Storytellers, where Eddie Vedder spoke about the genesis to writing the song Alive and kind of how the meaning has changed for him over the years is something that was a negative is now a positive. Yeah, that was a really, really cool platform, and it's really, like you said, Ethan, there's a lot of people that don't even remember, you weren't aware that they were on there, and a cool space.
Yeah, Jules Holland as well. From,
Yes.
BBC. One of my favorite performances that I've seen on YouTube only. The Foo Fighters was Jules Holland, "Best of You." Just the mix, again going back to just my ear loves the noise, the right noise turns me on. Just the mix of "Best of You" at Jules Holland live. Oh my god, dude! I think they did "All My
ear
Life"
candy.
a few times. Yeah, it was just an amazing performance, and early, yeah, it was like back. I forget what's the album with "All My Life"?
Is that
Remember?
Is that Echoes? Let me see.
Nah, no, that's with the Pretender. Doesn't matter, but
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
In your honor? No.
One by One.
One by One. Thank you.
2002's One by One.
So mad long ago. 20 years, dude. Imagine that. But yeah,
A couple of years
amazing.
in between.
I think I sent you guys like a video of the Foo. One of my favorites playing. It was the Wasting Light tour. They did the Garage tour first, if you remember.
Yeah.
To where they just go,
you did send us a couple of days ago. You sent that over to us.
And it was I think it was their first or their last stop or something of the tour, and it was this firefighter's house who was like a huge fan, really connected with Wasting Light and Walk and everything, and they played it in his garage, and it was just like,
I must have missed that text. I didn't see that video.
well, that's a shame.
I know.
But,
at least one of us pays attention to the group chat.
I'm
Ethan.
excited now.
Dude, it's amazing. Like, just like the level of, like, me and Ethan used to call it tightness. Just like when you're just tight with the band, and like just my strum is perfectly in sync with like the snare hit that Ethan hits or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like the level of tightness that you could just witness there with a really shitty like iPhone 4 or whatever was filmed back then on it. Yeah. Like it just like, it's not like a nice camera. It's not like the best sound quality, but it's just honest and it's raw and it's amazing. And the passion from the whole crowd. It's in New York. It's just really, really special. It's one of my favorite videos that I've ever seen them play My Hero. Yeah, it's just badass. So anybody, I forget exactly what the title is, but definitely go look up just Foo Fighters
Garage
My
Tour,
Hero,
the first stop.
Garage Tour. Yeah, it'll come up.
Yeah, it's so sad now. Because, I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen with the Foo Fighters now, but I mean, regardless of whether they continue or not, I mean, there's obviously a large chapter that's closed, and it really sucks. But I mean, there's so many things to go back and look at and to take in, and for someone like me who's not super well read, to discover and to share, as we're sharing in it right now. And I mean, man, they put so much music and so many experiences out into the world, and I think that's for anyone who's a rock and roll fan, it seems like everybody saw the Foo Fighters at some point. Like everyone was like, yeah, like it's a Wednesday night, I'm gonna go, the Foos are playing, I'll go grab a ticket and go see what they're about. And they made a lot of memories with people.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Dave was I mean, he's obviously a storyteller, and he has a lot of content. Like I feel like he loves recording and videos and stuff. So it's well documented, a lot of the stuff that they've done. Like there's the docuseries, and there's Back and Forth or whatever, the movie.
It's a good documentary.
Yeah, really good. And so there's like a lot of stuff, and so the stories are there. It's really nice because there's other acts where there's not much to look back on.
I mean, even Dave's book, which he recently released, I think within the last year. I haven't had the chance to read it yet, but there's just some people, I think, once they make the decision when they're in their youth to create and to make art, I mean, as long as they're here, they're not going to stop. And I think, despite all the tragedy, I think that's happening, Dave Grohl, that's always going to be something that exists within him.
I hope so, man.
I hope so,
I remember,
too.
I mean, I called Ethan the night that y'all posted about Taylor, and I was just like, I think, my first thought was, like, holy shit, Taylor. But my second immediate next thought was just, God damn, don't you just feel for Dave?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can't even. I mean, it's like if one of us passed away, and we haven't even had 25 years as we're 30 years together doing music, touring
it's
every
so
night.
Sad.
I just mean everything that he's gone through, whether it was like the hurt and
it's it is
like how much hurt is one person able to sustain themselves under, and how hard can you get hit and not break?
Mm-hmm. It's like the people that leave. It's like you feel bad because they left, but then it's really the people that are still here that you're like really feel bad for, because they're the ones dealing with it.
Pick up the pieces.
That's why I'm anxious to see if Dave's gonna say anything or come out, and obviously people are wondering and stuff, but I almost don't want him to say anything either, because
he shouldn't.
Well, it's crazy because we're sitting here
because they would ask him about people ask about Kurt all the time, and it's like
they still ask him about Kurt. We're sitting here. I think time we're recording this, it's 8 or 9 days after Taylor passed away. I mean, it's so soon, and as we speak right now, I think the Foo Fighters are winning a bunch of Grammys right now, and it's just I don't know when the time's going to be right for Dave, and when he's going to feel like the time is right, because I can't even relate to how he must be feeling, or the band must be feeling, or Taylor's family must be feeling.
Yeah. It's wild, dude. Anyway.
Yeah. To say it's always a pleasure to talk about the Foo Fighters, talk about some of the performances. They definitely have a lot to be celebrated and a lot to look at. Very thankful for everything they've done. Speaking of stuff that people have done, did you guys see that Red Hot Chili Peppers released a new album on Saturday?
The segue we all needed. Yes, I did see that they're back. They're back, baby.
I guess, if the Foo Fighters, if you thought the Foo Fighters was going to be there forever, the Red Hot Chili Peppers are actually going to be around forever doing exactly what they're doing right now.
Unlimited Love is officially out.
Unlimited Love is out. Dude, Drew, it's like 17 songs, an hour and 17 minutes this one. And this is I don't even know what number album this is, but
it's like their 12th or 13th or something.
I heard on the radio that Anthony, I guess he was during the writing process, Flea and all them wrote all their parts faster than normal. So Anthony had to write all the lyrics at one time, and he's kind of caught off guard how productive everybody was. So Anthony just wrote pretty much bullshit lyrics just to get it done.
What?
Which is what? No, I mean, it's not something that is uncommon for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, for the lyrics to not really make any sense at all.
Yeah,
they just got.
Well, they have so many.
They got
too many.
Yeah.
Read the title list, Chris.
Oh my God. So we've got a plethora of songs on here, but Black Summer, Here Ever After, Aquatic Mouth Dance, Not the One, Poster Child, The Great Apes, It's Only Natural,
Nice,
She's a Lover, These Are the Ways, What You Thinkin', Bastards of Light, White Braids and Pillow Chair, One Way Traffic, Veronica, Let 'Em Cry, The Heavy Wing, and Tangelo.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely just go right to Bastards of Light. I mean, there's not really
Aquatic Mouth.
It's not really anywhere else to think or to go.
I've picked a Tangelo off of a Tangelo tree.
I don't even know what a Tangelo is. The fruit.
Tangerine.
Shit. The more you know.
And,
So what are
something else?
Ethan and Drew? What are your opinions on the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Don't have much of one.
Yeah.
Never really got into them just because didn't love again, like just I'll default to the noise of things. Like the mix, it was always the biggest thing for me growing up. Just never loved like the way that the sonics sounded on a Chili Peppers record.
Yeah.
But I do think obviously there's been some interchanging of guitarists throughout the years, but I think they have some bops. I think they have some good ones.
They do.
Chad Smith, I think he's best when he's next to Will Ferrell on Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, yeah.
The recipe for success.
Other than that, I know people like him, and that's about all I have to fucking say.
What about you, Ethan?
Yeah, I'm happy we got another Red Hot Chili Peppers album. I'll say it. I put it on today when I was walking through the woods playing some disc golf, and it was perfect. This album kind of had some like Beck, like it kind of sounded like I was listening to Beck. But the thing is, then you have Anthony singing, and it's nothing like Beck.
And not Beck.
And then it's like, yeah, some of the songs are like really well put together, and then the other ones, it's like Flea is doing something like completely by himself, just playing a weird. He's just taking the bass for a walk, and like everybody has to like play along with it, and then he just. They get to the chorus and he like still does some weird stuff.
Distracting. Yeah.
I like it. I like the band because every member and they're all unique and they did crazy stuff. Like I really like the novelty of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Because their lyrics aren't super, I don't know, maybe super deep and stuff. I think it's always been a nice surface level connection. Like they're a perfect like background band for me in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they're really good elevator music. Yeah, but I want to touch on that because I think that's an interesting.
What elevator music?
No, the fact that you know all the members.
I think it's like awesome when bands have members like in the Foo Fighters like that too. Like I mean, people knew Taylor Hawkins was the drummer.
But how it's such an antiquated thing anymore, huh?
Oh yeah, it's not. Bands are not like that anymore.
Well, a lot of times now you just have you're all hired guns. Exactly. You have the front person, and then you have session drummer B
Somebody
and
else.
hired gun A on lead guitar, and they rehearse for a little bit before they hit the road. But I think a lot of times popular music that's being made today isn't about the band; it's about the front person, and I think a lot of times people could give a shit about how the lead guitarist is playing or what the bass line's like.
Do you think that's because maybe just generally why do you think that is? And break it down a little bit more into, do you think it's because people like, so Guns N' Roses, all the names.
Yeah.
Is it because, just as an example, is it because they were all phenomenal?
That's a really good question. Yeah.
Is it because you just
that's how bands were consumed back then.
Right. Is it because that's how bands were consumed?
That's how people learned instruments.
Yeah, and it seems like that's just where the attention was at that time. And I think now people are, I mean, there's big personalities in popular music now, and people go to the show for those big personalities and for the individual. I don't know. It seems, I mean, I think it's all cyclical. I think at some point things will come back around again. But yeah, I don't really know. I mean, people seem to collaborate and co-write a lot too. And I mean, if you're in a studio cutting something, and maybe the person that you create that with might not tour with you because you're not in a band with them, so it just kind of ends up being whoever's available and whoever you hired to do it. But I mean, certainly not to say that the people on the stage with some of these big individual acts are not talented. I think these players are incredibly talented, or else they wouldn't be out there. But it's an interesting dynamic.
I think
there might.
What I was thinking is like back. If you look at bands from the 60s and 70s, and, the 80s too, I think that the way people learned and wanted to play guitars, they knew the guitarists on stage. And if you're a drummer, like, you were learning drum lessons from an older, teacher, and then they would reference the people that they listen to. And I think now maybe because people can, there's like maybe more YouTube drumming lessons or YouTube lessons or stuff, so people can look elsewhere to kind of get influences of how to play. And I also think that in general, it's kind of moved towards the one person having all the rights in the band. Like I don't know if it was equally split. I don't know how it used to, like back in the, like, did Zeppelin, did they like split everything equal? Like I don't know if that's
financially
kind of.
I mean, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. I know Weezer doesn't. I know for a fact.
I think a lot of bands don't.
Some people get more than the others for sure. But my hypothesis is that, number one, guitarists, drummers, bass players have become much less popular, right? Like it's just like playing the guitar isn't as popular as it used to be. Therefore, people in the audience don't find it as intriguing when there is a good guitar player or something like that, right? It's
people don't know that they're good either.
And people don't want to put like with this like weird accelerated sort of technological age. It's like people expect results very quickly. Yep. So learning an instrument seems less attractive nowadays because you have to put in so much work and so much time, effort, and energy. And so people don't then do that, don't learn to appreciate the art of it, therefore don't look up to people who have put in the time, effort, and energy to do something. Don't put them on a pedestal so there aren't any more slashes or whatever, Yeah. And I think there's a little bit of that. And then with social media, everything's so much like self-centered more.
Totally.
So it's like, oh, I'll just be a DJ. It's just me. I can just do this thing and everybody's just focusing on me. And now DJs are like the biggest thing in the world, right?
Yeah.
So
I like that hypothesis. It's better than mine.
That's pretty much what I was trying to say.
Yeah. What he said.
Exactly what was in the head.
Well, it's true. I mean, it was more popular back then to be in a band and to have members being like, I don't know, important.
Synergy, like together, like a group, like it was like cool.
Like they, people shout out their, bassists and they go through the line like in the back there on the drums. They do that. They do that. They throw that token out every concert that you go to.
Everybody knows Iggy Pop / Gilby Clarke. Fucking, yeah. It's stupid.
They know all 4 members of the Beatles.
Right.
But yeah. How long until the next Chili Peppers album?
I'm waiting already.
Yeah. No, this one will be enough for a while.
I'll have to go and take an informed listen to it. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. If you've listened to them before, Yeah.
I feel like I cherry picked some of the songs, and it seems like they created it from a safe neighborhood of the Chili Peppers city, in the sense that it's a well-trafficked area, and it seems like the kind of music that you would expect the Chili Peppers to put out.
Do you think that's what their fans want?
Well-oiled machine.
Huh?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely what they want.
Well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I was gonna say people want another 10, so Chili Peppers are just doing that. They're just putting out more,
hammering it out
Blood
there.
Sugar Sex Magic.
Yep, great. Hey, I mean, if people like it, then it has value. So, not one to throw stones.
Nice. Well, speaking of stones and throwing things, something that we talked about off camera was cheers.
I'm doing what you call getting hydrated.
It's so easy. I like to see you try.
These sodies don't hydrate you?
Sodies do not hydrate.
Anyway, back to stones, Drew. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was just saying I was gonna throw a stone in your court and see if we wanted to talk about any. I know we offered, so all of us are pretty well traveled, ish. I
Well, friends, that is where this week's public podcast train rolls to a stop into the station. We hope you enjoyed the last bit of time, a little banter about the Foo Fighters and their impact on us, as well as a meandering review of the new Red Hot Chili Peppers record that is out everywhere now. As we said at the top of this episode, there is more to this episode. Ethan, Drew, and I just decided to keep it rolling for a little while one night last week. And if you want to hear that, you can head over to our Patreon and join and check some stuff out. We're trying to do our best as time rolls on to continue to provide things for the patrons that support us, because without them, the regular episodes wouldn't happen either. So gotta support the hand that feeds us.
Yeah, awesome time hanging with Drew.
Yeah, it's always a blast.
And there's more. You don't want to miss it. There's some good shit. So now we have song of the week before we completely shut this thing down. So mine was pretty obvious. I have a hunch that we might have the same song of the week, actually.
Okay, well, I want you to go first, because I don't think we will have the same song of the week. My selection was a little bit haphazard before we sat down today. So, and who knows, maybe yours will change mine. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, maybe that's happened before. So I think just the song that we've been listening, I've been touched the most this past week has to be "I Am a River" by the Foo Fighters. I've watched a few live performances now of that, and we've sent back the making of it, and and it just is such a. I mean, we talked about with John Kay even before all of this stuff happened, and it is such a big song and beautiful, and like the strings it's so moving to me, and it really is. It really holds different meaning now, and a lot more weight, and it's just such it really is a special composition. So that's a no-brainer for me that it's got to be a Foo Fighter, and that song is just kind of perfect for us right now.
Yeah. As I said, I think I mentioned this, but I wasn't aware of this song until very recently, until I think after Taylor passed away. And yeah, it had been some time since a song kind of leveled me in that way, the way that "I Am a River" was able to do. And yeah, it's one of those things where regardless of what the song was written about, I think it's changed for me, and I'll always think of Taylor when I hear that song. And yeah, I mean, I've listened to it a lot since I guess you showed it to me about a couple of weeks ago, and man, it's just every single time it elicits emotion. And if any piece of art can do that, it's a powerful piece of art.
Yeah, I agree. So, is that your song of the week?
It is not my song of the week. Okay. I was thinking about it, and as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm still not dead set on what my song of the week is going to be. But you know what? We're just gonna roll with it. I've been in this mood lately. Well, really, I've been in this mood the last couple of months. My song of the week is another selection from Petey.
Hell yeah. Nice.
we got another one from Petey's Lean Into Life. Shout out to Petey, man.
He followed us.
Petey does follow us. And Petey loves Modest Mouse. So we love Modest Mouse, and we love Petey. So we're hopeful that one day, who knows?
We're calling our shot. We're going to have him on and talk about Modest Mouse.
Yeah, we're going to have fucking Petey on. We're going to talk about Isaac Brock. And
that'd be so cool.
Yeah, that's definitely going to happen.
So what song?
So my song of the week is "Lean Into Life" from the Lean Into Life album. And I think I sent this to you yesterday, but I wasn't aware, I hadn't watched it yet. When he released the album, he released this like mini movie sketch thing. It's like a 25-minute thing. It's called "Lean Into Life." And I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but at the end, he's like, you know what, man, sometimes like you don't have to like bust into life. Like that's too much. That's way too aggressive. It's way too sexual. You just gotta lean into it a little bit. Like you don't have to bust right through like the Kool-Aid Man or anything. You just gotta lean into it a little bit. So before I saw that, I loved this song, and after I saw that, sometimes man
made more sense.
Yeah, you don't have to bust. You just gotta lean a little bit. I mean, there's some cases where you can't bust. I mean, that's not gonna be good for anybody. So. You're just a nice little lean into life. So that's what we're going with.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, sometimes you can't.
It's right from Petey. Don't take it from me. Take it from Petey.
Don't get it twisted, man.
Yeah. So that's my song of the week. I think that's the third entry that Petey has had He's had Microwave Dinner, Don't Tell the Boys, and Lean Into Life.
That's right. I did pick. I think I picked Don't Tell the Boys.
You picked Don't Tell the Boys way back in the wintertime, maybe even December. I can't remember, but
nice.
Who knows? We'll probably just complete the album as time rolls on.
Yeah, he's probably 3 songs by him. That's right behind Isaac Brock, because Isaac probably has the most.
See, it's meant to be. Yeah. Isaac and Modest Mouse. They've definitely got a lot. I think by my own doing, Mark Lanigan's got a few of them on there.
Yep.
Otherwise, I mean, there's not many repeat offenders. So
not really. I think that's kind of the goal, is to mix around, obviously. But then we're moved by certain people that get multiple.
Exactly. So I mean, I was so moved by the concept of just leaning into life, just a little bit,
and not busting.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to lean a little bit. I'm trying to lean into life and see where that takes me.
All right, everybody. It's been really fun. Like I said, the extended version is on our Patreon. So please go check that out.
Yes, please do.
And we're probably a broken record at this point, but we do not care, because
that's
important.
Shit. This is our space.
Yeah. And if you guys are on Patreon and you liked it, please let us know that you liked the extended cut, and we will do more of that. So please leave your reviews, leave your remarks, because we do read them, and we do take them in consideration, unless it's bullshit.
Unless we have very selective eyes. But one thing we are not selective about is our wealth of gratitude for our patrons, all of our listeners, and additionally our guest and producer this week, Drew McFadyen. We're always talking about how this is not possible without the patron. This is not possible without Drew, because I have positively zero relative or necessary experience or skills. So, I mean, I guess with anything, specifically as it relates to mastering and producing, and Drew's a godsend. He's great at what he does, and I appreciate both his friendship and his professionalism. He's the man.
Yeah, he's always nice to come on and be on the pod and talk with. He adds a different aspect to it.
Yeah, and hopefully, hopefully this is kind of like a side note, but hopefully next week I'm not as nasally and gross as I am. People had to listen to me for the last little bit. That's probably torturous.
Maybe. I didn't notice.
Oh, maybe I'm just self-conscious then.
It's not that bad.
Who knows? I'm just trying to lean into it a little bit.
Yeah, you just gotta lean into life. All right. That's all I got, Chris.
That's all I've got, Ethan.
Nice. Well, it was great to see you this morning. It was great to have everybody's attention for the last hour and a half, or however long it's been. So until next week, have a great week.
Take care of yourselves, everybody. Thanks for your time. See you next week.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.